some point in your life, you're going to come across your biggest challenge. It could be right now, during this craziness of coronavirus and the pandemic. It could be your own serious health diagnosis, financial difficulty, it could be divorce or relationship breakup, or it could be that you've lost someone close to you in your life. Yet these moments in life can be the greatest awakening that your true self has been searching for. When you feel deep in your bones that you want a greater experience than what you've been taught was possible. Now, this is the start point and essence to personal mastery. Simply put, it's the practice of understanding your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Now, when you put that in that term, like to me, that's hard to get context of. I can't really apply that into my life. And so that's why we've put together a 5-stage pathway to personal mastery that has very specific elements in each stage to give you a clear pathway to follow. Now, if you're feeling lost, alone, frustrated, just struggling in general, then this is going to give you some perspective and clarity on where you currently are and why you feel the way you do. So in this episode, I'm going to teach you this thorough and proven roadmap of each stage of the 5 stages of personal mastery that will show you your strengths, your current strengths, and help you identify your next steps along this path. Now, this 5-stage pathway has been created from a real mix of experience. For 16 years, my career was as a coach in Olympic sport, where I help people master their trade. So I coached Olympic medalists, world champions, all through many different years across different sports. But my own journey into personal mastery came from grief. I gave end-of-life care to my mother, and the whole process of death and grief and all the years since then has put me onto this path. Literally, that experience just ripped me open. And so for the first time, I could see beyond my BS of my own stories and identities. And this is what I'm going to show you today. And if you haven't already, don't forget to click the button just here, subscribe, and then click the bell so you don't miss out on our weekly teachings. So when you've done that, get ready. Let's just dive straight in. Okay, so the first stage in this is called the spark stage, and I've already described some of the components that lead you into this area. So that moment in your life where the light goes on and you say enough is enough. I need to change right now, not for anyone else, for you, for yourself. And so you're ready to start and learn. And so I want to ask you right away, what's led you to watch this video right now? Let me know below in the comments. I'd love to hear, because for so many people, it's so many different major life events, yet it brings people to this beginning point. And as we go through these steps, you're going to see kind of why it's beginning and how it progresses. And this is chaotic. It's scary, it's lonely, and it's also exciting. So the main goal in this stage is awareness. You just bring awareness to, you can do things differently. You can change your life. You have the incredible power to change your life. And this begins with your self-care. And so the quality of your self-care defines how happy you are and how resilient you are to stress. And so, as I said before, I used to coach Olympic athletes. I considered myself healthy and that I looked after myself. But how wrong could I have been? I was so wrong. My training was too intense. It was too much. It's just physical. And I ignored all the different components of self-care and wellness. So I looked at just the physical, I ignored emotional, I ignored energetic, and I ignored my spiritual development. And as I've learned in those last 6-7 years, there is an undeniable connection between physical health and spiritual health. You can't have one without the other. Your beliefs, your energy, your mindset, all of this intertwines into self-care. And so self-care involves obvious things like how well you move, what you put into your body nutrition-wise, how well you sleep, your mindset, how well you use your breath. But there are also kind of more subtler things that I think go missed really by many people, including, what media do you consume? How much news are you watching? Are you aware that you're just numbing yourself out with mindless TV? Or are you choosing the channels you want to watch because the information is making you grow? And then intimacy as well, your intimate relationships or your friendly relationships. Are there relationships in your life that are draining you? And if so, do you know why? So self-care is the fundamental start point that lays the foundation to build your personal mastery upon. It's really the core foundations. And so to develop is usually seen as rising or increasing or rising to a higher state. So every step means that there is more energy involved. You're full, more vitality, more energy, and you can tackle life in a much more effective way. So this stage means you're going to try new things. You're going to try different movement. If you're used to doing CrossFit and blasting your body, have you tried yoga? Have you tried some form of stretch, mobility? Have you tried to look after your body? Have you tried to listen to your body? Have you, those times when you're about to do a session and your brain wants you to smash it, right? I've got to do more than I did last time. I've got an interval session. I've got to lift X amount of weights. But is your body telling you, no, I'm tired, I don't want to, I ache, and you're just overriding it? How much does that appear in your life? And so there's a really simple way of doing this. And click the link below. There's a free guide for you, 4 simple steps to self-care. Video tutorial is going to help you ease chronic pain, shift your mindset into a success mindset, nutrition tips, sleep tips, and also going to give breath practice to help you calm and become more resilient. And so really see self-care as an amplifier. If you're not looking after yourself, your amplitude is dialed down. So your vitality is low, your energy is low, your sex drive is low, all the kind of major things that help us enjoy life is low. When your self-care is optimized, ramp that amplitude up. Everything is through the roof. Vitality, sex drive, energy, capacity to want to just go and do things for the fun of it. So that's stage 1. Okay, stage 2, the glow stage. Now, this is a great stage to be in because you've been practicing your self-care for 1 to 2 months. You're consistently doing it and you're feeling the benefit of it. You're starting to see that there's a different way. You're feeling different within your body. People are noticing that you're different. And so you're starting to change the way you go about life. And so really the goal in this stage is that you're aware of how these potentially affect you. So if you do slip off, you feel that. And so there's a subtlety to it and you're becoming in tune with that subtlety. When your mood shifts, what makes your mood shift, what makes it rise, it's really a lifestyle for you now and it's becoming more natural, more habitual. And so when you're in stage 2, when you've got your daily practices locked in, breath, meditation, you're getting to nature, your mindful movement, sleep hygiene, etc. All those components are slotting into place and you're really feeling the benefit, like I said. You're able to plug in with other people doing the same thing. If before you'd have looked at people doing breath practice or meditation or whatever, before you look at them with skepticism, now you can relate to them because you now understand what those practices give you. You're beginning to build your awareness of what you eat and what you put into your body. So you're becoming more mindful of nutrition, but also the media you consume. Your mindset is shifting into and opening into a more growth mindset. You see life is happening for you, not to you. Feeling great, you're feeling different to how you used to feeling. You and others are noticing, as I said before, and it can feel really, really great, but also quite disorientating because it's a new place for you to be. It's not your normal, but it's feeling great. You know how to use your breath and as a tool to help you recenter during a stressful time. And you have an awareness of using peak states, so flow state, for example. And flow is defined as the optimal state of mind where we feel our best and perform our best. Those moments where time is distorted, 2 hours can feel like 5 minutes. And so you start to notice when you're in that more often and just becoming an awareness of it. So that's stage 2. Okay, stage 3. This is the shadow stage and probably, in my opinion, the most challenging stage of the pathway. You're sensing more and you're beginning to tune into your intuitive side. You're just sensing more ups and downs in your emotional landscape and you see it, but you don't quite understand it yet. Okay, the goal in this stage is that you're looking to understand your behaviors in your personal and professional life. You're beginning to look at the roles you have and how you identify to them. And this can be, like I said, an uncomfortable stage. It's where you're confronting the older parts of you. You're actively seeking to understand and unlock your limitations. It's uncomfortable, but it's the place you have to go through to develop and to grow and to start to shed behaviors, identities, the things that are holding you back. So I understand the apprehension about going into this stage or when you're in this stage, but it's lean into it. That's my advice, and it is one of the most profound stages out there. And so you know when you're in stage 3, when you have the capacity to see where you're getting stuck in old limiting beliefs. You know, those times where maybe you've had multiple relationships and you're starting to see a familiar pattern, yet the people that you're interacting with, whether that's intimacy or whether it's friendships, whatever, the same problem is coming up. You're starting to see, wait a minute, this is familiar. So that's what I mean by that. You're starting to be aware of where you're getting stuck in old limiting beliefs. And if you are noticing that the same problem is coming up with different people, that's a wonderful sign, because in my experience, that's my cue to look at me. You're actively seeking to release these limiting beliefs. You're beginning to do practices, deeper practices that I'll touch on in a minute, that are beginning to shed those emotional, physical, energetic limitations. And so the obvious place to start at to look at this and to help kind of release limiting beliefs is psychotherapy, which is an amazing talk therapy. However, this stage is where the skill of using peak states come in. And peak states could be the intentional, wise use of psychedelics. It could be the use of breath work. It could be some form of sexual practice like Tantra. It could be art. It could be movement. Some practices that are getting you deeper into your psyche, not just in your head, but within your body. All of our emotional landscape, our body is a library to our emotions that we've been through our whole life. All our trauma is stored within our body. And so to release that, it needs multiple different ways to let that out, and to not just to push it down, but to let it out, to express it, and to free yourself. And really, this is a way of letting go of old ways and to raise the level of your awareness in your life. It's a conscious practice. You know, you're really mindful of what you do. It's a heavy stage to be in, but you can be with that. You can allow that, because the only way to let it out is to be with it and to process it. You're very disoriented because you're letting go of old ways, which means you're developing new ways of how you want to be. You're learning to be kind to yourself and accept what is. One of the things that kind of identifies the challenge of this stage, certainly in my experience, was that old friendships started to drop off. As you grow, you change your beliefs, you change your mindset, you change your outlook and perspectives of life, and that's wonderful. But sometimes, you know, we all don't go at the same time, and so friendships may drop off. You know, friendships that you've had lifetimes, you may start to drop off, but you'll start to meet new people that are more resonating with you. You're going to attract new friends in your life. So that's stage 3. Okay, so before carrying on, I want to ask you a simple question. Is this process, is this pathway making sense to you? Can you start to relate to it? And if it is, please leave a yes in the comments below or within the podcast. Okay, stage 4, and this is the shine stage. This stage is all about maintaining that elevated awareness that you've created by going through that shadow stage. So all that hard work you've been through, all that discomfort, this is the stage to maintain it, to live with it. You can see what's going on when others around you are caught in drama and their identities. It stands out to you more and more and more. Okay, the goal of this stage is that you've already let go of old ways of being, some old ways of being, and you're learning how to integrate new ways, the new ways that you want to be, that serve you better in your life. And this is where you become a much more effective leader and partner in your relationships, whether that's professional or personal. The connection between your mind and body is getting stronger. So you're not just stuck in your head, you're completely in your body. Your body is a tuning fork in a way for your life. You're acutely aware of when your physiology changes. So when you're getting reactive, when you're triggered, when you're getting a reaction from someone or something, you're aware of that and you can see it. And that's the power in it. It's not necessarily about not getting triggered to start with, it's about seeing it. Because if you're not aware of when you get triggered, you're just going to react in old ways and regret what you're saying, or just you're not going to kind of close the loop on that. So when you can see the triggers, you can intercept it. And so you know when you're in stage 4, when you're practicing the 80-20 body-mind split. And so I touched on it a minute ago that body and mind is completely integrated. And so you're acutely aware of when your physiology changes and when you're getting triggered. You're not just in your head, you're not just behind your eyes, you're scanning your body all of the time. And so the 80-20 is that ideally we want to be 80% in our body, listening to our heart, listening to our gut, listening to our senses, and then just 20% of the time in our head. So when we're in our head and we can see our stories and we can start to curate or filter or defilter our interactions in life. So we're becoming skillful at stripping away some biases that It's easier said than done, of course, but it's a really enjoyable stage. It's skillful when you're practicing that 80-20 split. You have the capacity to recenter yourself in real time. So when you're getting triggered and you're angry or you're scared or you're emotional in some sense, you can see it, you can spot it, and you can recenter yourself with skillful practice of breath work, for example. You're just becoming a real master in what's going on for you. You're not projecting onto other people. You're in control. You take responsibility for your own reactions and your own experiences within life. You're aware and understand how to communicate effectively. So rather than being blameful, rather than being stuck in victimhood, you can see that you can author your life how you want to. You can take responsibility, you can coach other people, you're not rescuing other people, and you know how to say no effectively. And I think most of us don't say no well enough, and we overcommit, we bury ourselves in all this work we have to do, whether that's helping people, whether that's actual work, and then at some point we get pushed into a corner, we're burnt out, and we lash out. So, when you're beginning to master yourself, stage 4 personal mastery is you're really in tune with that. You can say no effectively, not in a dismissive way, but in a what's right for you. You can set your clear boundaries really, really well. And kind of an extension from that is that you are aware of drama dynamics. So whether that's at work, whether that's in your relationships, your intimate relationships, you can see it and you can effectively steer yourself as well as others around you out of it with grace. If you're not blaming, you're just skillful at navigating drama, the inevitable drama that shows up in life, and you can steer yourself and others really, really well. And what that does is that it lifts people. It lifts the people around you. You become someone that they want to be around, both professionally and personally, because you're offering a new narrative to what most people experience. Most people experience blaming and victimhood and, all that type of stuff, persecution, whereas when you're in stage 4, you're offering a new way of being. You can lift people through challenging times, which when you dive deeper into that, you can navigate conflict really, really well. When you become further and further down the path of personal mastery, you have the skills to manage conflict. Doesn't mean you won't experience conflict, but you can manage it really well. And lastly, in stage 4 is that your just general presence affects those around you positively. So you become almost like a shining light. People want to be with you. People want to hear you talk. Professionally, people want your advice. Personally, people want your advice personally as well. You become almost like you start to become magnetic. People are drawn to you. So that's stage 4. Okay, last but by certainly means not least, stage 5, and this is the beacon stage. This stage is really all about leading the way for others. And so there is a real difference between the people that possess skills or knowledge and then the ability to teach that knowledge to another person. And so for us, it doesn't really mean much if someone possesses skills or knowledge in certain areas but doesn't want to share it or doesn't want to teach it or doesn't know how to teach it. It kind of, for us, that's what we're here for. That's what we're all here for. And so we're helping each other home, as Ramdas would say perfectly. We're helping each other. We're sharing our knowledge. Inspiration through example. So I want to ask you now, where have you mastered? After listening to all these stages, where have you mastered? It's not about being perfect in all areas, not by any means. But it's just, where are you drawn to teach? Where are you drawn to share? What advice, why do people come to you for advice? That's a really good signal. In a job or in relationships or kind of along those lines, where do they come to help? What do people ask you normally? And so the goal in stage 5 is that you've achieved a great level of personal mastery in some area in your life. And this means that you balance your rest, your nutrition, your movement, and your mindset to be calmer, more resilient to stress, and ready to show up in life, with the understanding that this is a continual evolution. It's a continual process all the way through life. So 1 to 5, you just keep going around. We'll talk about that more in a second. And so when you're in stage 5, when you've planned your entire year around skillful access to peak experience. So you've got your daily and weekly practices on point, but now you've added periodized peaks as part of your self-designed schedule throughout the year, your annual calendar. You're fully aware of which stage you operate in and understand that this is a life's work. It really, really is a life's work, which doesn't make it daunting. It just makes it an evolving process, almost like a spiral. You're going round and round, and patterns will keep coming back to you, and you keep shedding more and more and more. And you become aware of when you cycle through the different stages. You know what stage you're in, and you can accept that. It's totally fine for you. You embrace it, because this is just the path of growth, the path to personal mastery. You see that life happens for you, not to you. And you self-author your life skillfully by habit. So you define how your life works out. You don't blame anymore. You reduce your amount of blaming. You reduce your victimhood, but you step into creator. You step into challenger. You step into coach for yourself and others. So one of the key components of stage 5 is that you begin to make informed decisions because you research effectively. So rather than making decisions based solely on what others tell you, you can hear different perspectives, and then you make your own decisions from your own research. And that's really a critical point of stage 5 on personal mastery. And you speak your truth authentically without worry about what anyone thinks of you, which is a challenge, isn't it? But you step into your power, you step into your confidence to share your message, to share your truth, which means you guide others in some form. Some area in your life you begin to guide people, an area that you're drawn to, an area that people keep asking you about probably. You begin to guide others effectively, and you become highly intuitive and resonant. So what that means is you listen to your intuition. You become fully aware of the energetic field around you. You know, your spiritual growth, you're connected. It's not just you, me and I, it's we and all. You know, you're acutely aware of what that means and how that feels. And that's a skill to keep developing. And lastly, people are drawn to you. And so does this resonate with you right now? Comment below. Let me know what stage you're in. Are you in stage 1? Or are you in stage 3? Or are you in a stage 5? Like where are you showing up right now? In my experience, you know, yes, I'm in beacon stage, I'm teaching this, I teach in a variety of different environments, but I'm also going back into shadow stage. You know, I'm still letting go of my limiting beliefs. I'm still doing the work, going around, freeing myself ultimately to shed all of the limiting beliefs and to step into my full power more and more. So if you like this video, please like it. If you dislike this video, please dislike it. Give me some feedback, let me know. And be sure to subscribe. Just click the button here, click the button, and then click the bell button, because you're going to be notified then when we release our videos each and every Wednesday. And please share this video with someone that you think it would help. You know, someone that maybe in your friendship or at work, just share it with them and see if it helps them out. Finally, to remind you that our stage 1, the spark stage, we have a free guide below, the 4 simple steps to self-care, that will give you a really nice introduction and guide to follow to begin your self-care practice. Looking at mindset, nutrition, sleep, movement, it's all there, video tutorials. Just click the link below, follow the instructions, and enjoy that process. So thank you for watching, and see you next week on a new episode.